All right, a little tardy this morning, although I did get up early for Orange Theory, hashtag humble brag. Dave Schultz, it is the Schultzy cast. We finally have a Cajuns in the transfer portal. I want to shout out to Nick from Rage and Review for letting me know because I did miss it. Cam Johnson in the transfer portal for LSU. We'll see where he ends up. I didn't even list the NBA. That was a pretty good game last night. Celtics 2-0. Clemson and Florida were an instant classic, although I think you can put blame everywhere. Oh. And a little bourbon hunting. And I'm not quite ready to say what's going on, but I will, I'm sure, this week. Found another bottle that you can't find. Not at least in Louisiana, I found a little Peerless double oaked for MSRP, basically. All right, so the first Cajun in the transfer portal, as far as I saw, is Jack Martinez. He went from opening day starter to mop-up guy, right? He did pitch well, pretty well against, I think. Well, actually, he pitched against Texas in the opening game, right? He pitched against Grambling. Herman pitched against. Now I'm confused. Anyways. No, because we spoke with Jack. So maybe it was after Grambling. So he went from basically right, he went from Herman pitched against Texas the second game. He went from opening day starter to like mop-up guy, right? There was a blow-up in the dugout with Gunnar Leger, and I wish the best for Jack Martinez. I really do. I'm guessing he was a little bit over his head at this level of baseball. And even if it's G5, he went from Division III, right? Trinity to Division I. And it's a lot. That's a big level, right? It's kind of like golf where every shot counts. Every pitch matters. And the way that the Cajuns pitch is that one pitch, if we're still using the Tony Robichaux system, which I presume we are, mixed in with a little Gunnar Leger pitching system, one pitch determines the next pitch. So every pitch counts. And wishing him the best. I thought maybe he could get back in the rotation, maybe as a Sunday starter or a midweek starter, but it kind of feels like, there was obviously a parting of the ways. And again, I just haven't seen anybody else in the transfer portal. I mean, I presume Josh Alexander is in there, right? This guy went from having a great season to not playing to off the team. Nuts. But I think that happens everywhere, right? I don't think that's special to the Cajuns. I did see, and maybe this happened Thursday or Friday, Kendall Rogers was on with Moscona talking that, first of all, they haven't fired David Pierce yet at Texas. And that came up, when the Cajuns beat Texas. Like, he was expecting to be back. Danny Davis of the Austin Statesman asked, "Do you expect to be back?" And he said, "Yes." Everybody there afterwards were like, "No, he's not coming back." And so they're going to go after Schlossnagel. Like, they're going to try and go get A&M's coach, which probably isn't going to happen. They're on to the College World Series. And then they're going to go after Jay Johnson. I don't think Jay Johnson's going anywhere. But he could, Jimmy Sexton, although that would be the same thing that happened with Maneri, right? And Nick Saban, right? They used Texas to get more money. I'm not sure how much more money Jay Johnson's going to get, but we'll see what happens. I'm confident that Jay Johnson's coming back to LSU. Why would you do that? I know Texas has this long tradition of college baseball, but it really hasn't been a whole lot as of late. So we'll see if anybody comes from anywhere into play baseball for the Cajuns. I've seen a couple of people transfer already. Remember, there's a date to go into it, not necessarily a date to come out of it. Although somewhere along the way, you're going to have to enroll in the new school, right? So you may have, I don't know if there's a deadline to enroll. You just got to be in classes in August. So we'll see what happens there. Again, Cam Johnson into the transfer portal for LSU. LSU transfer portal. Let's see who else, because there is it's a pretty good list right now, but that was the big name over the weekend. Let's see here. May have to pay for this. Matthew Brune, the Bengal Tigers. See if I got to pay for this. No. So Cam Johnson is into the portal. Aiden Moffitt is into the portal. Zeb Rudel is in the portal. Was the number 3 ranked player in Louisiana for 2022. Took a redshirt year at LSU. He went 2 for 10 at the plate with a double and a home run in 2024. Freshman Nick Bronzini. Freshman Derek Mitchell. Sophomore Micah Buckman. All right. So, and freshman Austin Rowling. Okay. Ranked the number 11 shortstop and number 37 player in the state of California by Perfect Game. He did not have an at-bat this season. Braswell, why do I think Braswell's a senior? Braswell, the third, LSU baseball. Let me see. It may not be. No. It's a junior. He's got another year left. We'll see if he comes back. Full bio. Freshman of the year 2022. So he's got one more year to go. Okay. So we'll see if he comes back, if he gets drafted. I don't know if Michael Braswell's getting drafted or not. All right, it is the Schultze Cast. The big news over the weekend was, we had a couple of big stories. The umpiring in college baseball continues to be about the umpires. Making a bad call happens, right? I mean, that nobody expects umpires to get every single call right. It's just nobody expects that. Now you have a couple of challenges. There's a check swing that Kyle Peterson didn't like. The home plate umpire didn't check down the first base. But no one expects them to get them all right. They expect to get most of it right. And when I say most of it, we're talking like 95%. Like 90% is bad. You can't miss 1 out of 10 calls. And now you got people being thrown out because of a collision at first base, and the runner from third comes all the way around and gets into the mix. Probably shouldn't have, but he gets thrown out. All right. I think that happened Saturday. And then yesterday, Clemson and Florida are playing, and Clemson hits a go-ahead home run in the 13th inning, that serious bat flip, and everyone's celebrating, and the umpires decide, they take a 10-9 lead in the 13th inning, and the umpires decide apparently to throw a coach out of the game. They just threw a coach out of the game. Should they have done that? No. Let the celebration go. It's the 13th inning. Then the head coach gets ejected because the coach got thrown out. The head coach got thrown out because one of his assistants got thrown out, and he was getting suspended for 2 ball games. So if by some chance Clemson won last night, which they did not, Florida, who I still don't think deserved to get in, but have taken full advantage of it, going back to Omaha, if, the Clemson manager, who I think is wrong too, wouldn't have been coaching the regional final that he's hosting. And then they made up some rule where he gets ejected so he doesn't have to talk to the media. Jay Johnson got ejected, but he won, so he talked to the media in the SEC. And they're just making up these rules as they go along. It took forever to figure out what happened with the NCAA. These umpires should be embarrassed. Now, I'm also one of those guys, pass interference call in the first 30 seconds of the game is a pass interference call in the last 30 seconds of the game. However, you need to read the room. Okay. No one is caring on the Florida side about too much celebration. They're just not. Right. And, to prove that point, they went out and scored 2 runs to win the ballgame. Let's see if I can see this. I'm also, the problem with yapping. I don't mind celebrating. And was it Camarillo who was making those great plays. He had a 3-run home run and then made a ridiculous over-the-head leaping catch, right? Which he didn't get into the glove, but he held on with his hand against his body. Amazing stuff. That was an instant classic. Like, I was out and about, whatever I was doing, come home. And I think it was 9-9 in the 8th or the 9th. Well, he had to tie it up in it. Didn't he tie it up in the 9th? So maybe it was the 10th by the time I got to it. Let's see. There is no if necessary game. So they tied it up in the 9th. So maybe I showed up at the bottom of the 9th or in the 10th. Right. And it was the center fielder. Oh, Cam Canarella. Sorry. I think Camarillo is the shortstop for A&M. Also, we're all children, right? Drew Titsworth comes in for Clemson. And for everybody who's not watching Clemson baseball, the jokes ran wild. You know, it's a lot of pressure on the future Mrs. Titsworth, I'll tell you that. But, you know, obviously, I mean, he's a freshman and he came in a big spot, 1 pitch, 1 out. Did come back in the next inning and walked a batter, and that was it. But the jokes ran wild, and obviously he's 18 or 19. He's heard all the jokes, right? There's nothing more you're going to say to him. We're just finding out his name now because we don't follow Clemson baseball. And what was my point here? Anyway, it was my point was Darden. All right. Darden comes in and gets Florida out of the 12th inning, right? He strikes out Caliglione. I mean, right at him, right? And then I think he struck out Wilson. Let me see. 12th. And he walks off yapping. Let's see. Bottom to 12th. Darden to pitch for Titsworth. Curlin flew out. Caliglione struck out Wilson. Oh, he doubled. That's when the shortstop and the second baseman collided, I think. And Shelton struck out. Oh, geez, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitch at bat with runners on at second and third. So Darden is jacked up. He's pumped up, which is fine, except he's barking at Florida. He's yelling at Florida. You can get your own guys jacked up, your own guys pumped up. But don't be yelling, don't be yapping at the other team, because guess what happened? 13th inning. Hyman, infield single to short. Shelnut, single to left center, first and second. Thomas grounded out to third on a sac bunt, putting runners on at second and third. Donay intentionally walked. Robertson, doubled. They gave him a double, and 2 runs scored. Darden, with his big mouth, lost the game. So, yeah, you can get yourself pumped up. You can get your guys pumped up looking at them. But you start looking at the other team, that's the baseball gods saying, yeah, you better hope you get a run, all right? Because that's nothing is settled when you are the road team, although you're in your home stadium. Still a classic of a ball game. Let's see who else is in there, right? Do we have any? I'm not sure if we have any if necessary games today. Kentucky went. That's the first time. So impressed with the Kentucky coach last year. Let's see here. Scoreboard. Oh, we got Georgia and NC State. Okay. That's one. Kentucky beat Oregon State. They've advanced. Florida advanced. A&M advanced. They were down in a big way, and Oregon blew up. I'll get you an Oregon. I'll run down that game for you. Tennessee bombs away against Evansville. They advanced. And Georgia rebounded to beat NC State. So I think, is Georgia NC State the only game? Yeah, Georgia and NC State is the only one. That's going to be 6 p.m. Central Time. So let's see here. Jeff Schwartz, is that his name? Former Chiefs lineman. Yeah, and Oregon alum. Oregon was up 8-4. He tweeted this out. Oregon was up 8-4 into the 7th. Now down 13-8. Here's the inning for A&M. Walk, single, strikeout, walk, walk. So you have a run in and the bases are loaded, but you get a strikeout. So 1 run is in, bases are loaded, but 2 out. Walk, 2nd run in, hit by pitch, 3rd run in, walk, 4th run in, walk, 5th run in, grand slam. 9 runs in the 7th. Go from up 8-4, looking to force a game 3 against A&M, and you lost. That's rough. Oh, and then was it the Kentucky-Oregon State game? So it's one thing when you drop a fly ball, like Brown did for LSU. But did the Oregon State pitcher against Kentucky not cover home plate on a wild pitch? Are you kidding me? Like, that's something you learn in 1st grade. The first time you're pitching and you throw a wild pitch, you are taught to cover home plate. Kentucky scores the winning run on a wild pitch, scoring from 2nd base. Sorry, that's inexcusable, right? We don't want to blame Brown for losing the LSU game, although LSU fans will. Hitting didn't help. And maybe the hitting didn't come around for Oregon State as much as it should. But you cannot not cover home plate. That's a bad mental mistake, right? And we've seen some guys actually against the Cajuns, right? A&M covered the plate immediately, and the ball didn't even get that far away. Here, the ball is to the backstop. The catcher's got no one to throw it to because the pitcher is in la-la land. Not good. Not good. All right, so we did the baseball. Now we do have Caitlin Clark. And by no means am I watching a whole lot of WNBA. Try to watch Fever when they're on. I probably should be watching Las Vegas a little bit, maybe a little Angel Reese. But I happen to think that Team USA dropped the ball. Apparently, the reasons that Caitlin Clark didn't go it wasn't because she wasn't one of the best. It was because she wouldn't be getting the minutes that her fans thinks that she deserves. Who are you going to take off the team, everybody says? Don't care. They are less popular than Caitlin Clark. And I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm very good at that in my industry, in sports talk, and formerly of that, broadcasting baseball. Very rarely does the most talented person get the gig. Usually you know somebody. You have some experience. You're local, or you come cheap. That's who's getting these jobs now. So I deal with it. It's not fair, not necessarily fair. But I would have put her on the team. And if she comes off the bench and plays 10, 12 minutes a game, so be it. But they're going to lose eyeballs. All right. The ratings are going to be 20, 30, 40, 50% less than they should have been for the women's basketball team in Paris. Like it or not, that's what it's going to be. I think that's a mistake. I think it's an obvious mistake. I don't care who you take off the team. All right. And I know some other players that are deserving to be on the team didn't make it either. They wouldn't draw any eyeballs to the sport. If you're trying to grow the game, and you have this phenom who, again, she handles it gracefully. I mean, I don't know if she's got this good PR team or she's just smarter than everybody else. But every time there's a controversy, Caitlin Clark sloughs it off, right? With the cheap shot, she's like, no worries. And then with this, she's like, yeah, I found out. Not disappointed at all. I'll work on what I need to work on. First of all, a break would be nice, right? Again, you realize that it was like 6 weeks going from the Final Four to the WNBA. Like, what's going on, right? Like, these guys getting drafted later this month at the end of June, July, August. They get 2.5 months. Not to mention, that's after they get drafted. Not to mention, unless you went to the Final Four, you get April and May and June. April, May, June, July, August, like 5.5 months to get ready. And all these guys are in great shape now because they're not necessarily playing a lot, They're just working out. Now, then they get to settle in, they get to move, they get to pick a place, and do some, if you're a high draft pick, probably get some publicity and some, marketing deals. But they get half the year to get ready. And and I'm talking Final Four. What happens if if your team didn't make the NCAA tournament or lost on the first weekend? That's now 6.5 months or 6 months. No. So maybe she needs a break, deserves a break, but I just think Team USA dropped the ball there. And I freely admit that, I'm one of those guys just watching it now. Who do you take off the team? I don't know, and I don't care. The person that she would have replaced, no one's watching the games because of them. All right. And that's just the way it's sad. It's not fair, but I think it's true. All right. And I know a lot of people have been covering the sport. I'm not one of them. But I just think that was such an easy deal. And here's the thing. I don't think anybody who was doing any of the marketing deals is changing anything one iota. I don't know how you do that with the Olympics, right? We just want to be on, we'll just go to the men's games. We'll just be on track and field. Maybe we don't put Caitlin Clark on during women's games. I don't know if you can order that. I don't know if it works that way. You buy the Olympics and you're on when you're on. I can't imagine that's the case because I presume, I don't know how many commercials Nike's doing during swimming, although I'm sure they have swimming trunks, but swimming suits, whatever it is, compared to, they're going to do, track and field. So maybe they can pick and choose what they're doing. But I just think it was a massive drop of the ball. And the reason isn't because she's not one of the 12 best players. The reason allegedly is because her fans, not her, but her fans would wonder why she's not getting the minutes that everybody wants her to get. Come on. What are we doing here? Are we really doing, where are we going to hear that from? I haven't heard about that at all. So, strawberry. Usually don't get the strawberry. So I don't understand that. I think it's a big mistake. Big mistake. What would my guy Evan Cohen say? And all three. He put it out there. Let's see here. Doing the show this morning on Get Up. And I didn't hear what they talked about. It was the job of the Olympic Committee is to pick the 12 best players, pick the best team, although that seems like the same thing, but create the best TV show. Why can't it be all three? Can't it be all three? Like, would this team be any different if they switched out the 12th player or the 11th best player and put Caitlin Clark on there? I'm not sure. I think I think they missed the boat. It seems such like an easy idea, but they're worried about Clark's fans are going to protest in France over her not playing a lot. Are they going to cheer, "We want Caitlin"? Come on. She play when she plays. She come off the bench, hit some threes. It's a bad mistake. Bad mistake. Easy thing to do. So many times in life, the answers are easy, especially politically, but we won't get into that. The answers are easy, but no one's got the courage or the money's on the other side. Here, the answer was simple, and they blew it. They blew it. All right. They seem to have rabbit ears. It seems like the easiest decision ever. And foolishly did not do that. All right. Anything else going on here? Oh, lockdown Sunbelt. I don't know why I didn't do this. So this would be interesting from a Cajuns point of view. North Carolina is putting legislation through because there's nothing more important to get done in North Carolina that is forcing North Carolina and NC State to rotate and have App State, East Carolina, and UNC Charlotte on their schedules every other year, something along those lines. All right. I don't know the exact details. Like, do they have to play? They have to play one of those teams in football and or basketball every year. And so maybe you rotate. So I don't know. Does Carolina and NC State, do they gang up on UNC Charlotte? we'll play UNC Charlotte at the same time. Or the same year, not the same time, but the same year. And then so UNC Charlotte gets a couple of big checks, but has a couple of losses, most likely. So that's going through. It's not going to start until 25, 26. One of the other parts of that thing was they have to play each other as if one of those teams may be leaving the ACC. I don't know. Although Duke is not involved because Duke's private. Or Wake, also private, right? So how would that work here in Louisiana, all right, or Texas, or Mississippi, right? Cajuns and LSU playing baseball every year, all right? LSU does a great job of that. This year was in Houston. I think last year was in Baton Rouge, and the year before was probably in Lafayette. And I think Bertman did a great job of that. Maneri did a great job of that. Jay Johnson's kept up with that. It's convenient for them. They don't necessarily have to hop on a plane. Not that they don't mind doing that, but sometimes it's just easier hopping in a bus and going. They go to McNeese, go to Tulane. They've even played at Southern, right? At Southeastern, go to ULM, La Tech. It's easy, right? Softball, Cajuns do that. That's outstanding. They do a home and home with them. That's fantastic. Easy midweek ball games. And you get good competition. Southern Miss does that with, Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and those fans are so upset that Southern Miss usually beats them. They don't want to play them anymore. And of course, when they lose, just like when the Cajuns beat LSU, it's the Cajun Super Bowl. It's a big ball game. All right, it's beating Big Brother. But LSU won't play the Cajuns in basketball, or certainly in football. Right? I mean, South Alabama is coming in to play the Cajuns, or to play LSU in football. LSU will play Southeastern in football. They'll play ULM in football. They'll play McNeese in football. I don't know if they'll play Tulane or La Tech, but they won't play the Cajuns. Alabama plays Southern Miss, but not UAB or Troy or South Alabama. I think somewhere along the way, let me see. South Alabama was supposed to have Auburn on the football schedule. Maybe, is that the COVID year? Maybe it's this year. I don't think so. I would have noticed that. Football schedule. Let's see here. 24. Yeah. No, South Alabama's playing, as I mentioned, LSU. All right. They play Auburn next year. Alabama won't do that. At least Saban wouldn't, right? Saban, talking about all the, out of the both sides of your mouth, loves playing in-state foes, generally doesn't do it. Alabama football schedule. Let's see who they got. Western Kentucky. They play Western Kentucky. USF was a home and home. They got Mercer. Yeah, that's this year. Right? What do they have last year? USF, we know. Oh, Middle Tennessee. Play Middle Tennessee. South Florida's home and home. Chattanooga. No Troy. No South Alabama. No UAB. Right? They were actually trying to get, wasn't Bear Bryant's grandkid tried to eliminate UAB football, which they did. Playing Utah State. Come on. ULM. Won't play their in-state schools. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out in North Carolina and if other states can do it. Here's the difference, right? Apparently Carolina and NC State do not run the Capitol, whereas Cajuns fans are going to tell you Baton Rouge isn't going to do anything without LSU's approval. Not going to happen. the chances of that coming to Louisiana. Could you imagine Texas? Could you imagine if they made Texas or A&M play Texas State or UTSA? A number of football teams in that state. Sam Houston. So we'll see if this gets through. It was just last week. You can go read about it. It's online. It passed on Tuesday. It's advancing in the legislature. Now, we'll see how that works out. But it is interesting. That is on this episode of Locked On Sunbelt. All right. Obviously, I'm out of town. We will let you know what is going on as soon as I can. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. Good 32 here this morning. Hopefully everything is okie dokie back in Lafayette. Actually heading home soon. Got to figure out when that's going to be. All right. I got some travel plans in the works. And so we will be, maybe we'll be doing this on Mama Schultz's deck at 7:55 in the morning. Am I really going to get up and do this in the first thing in the morning? I get up anyways. I don't sleep at night. I was up at 4 o'clock today. And I'm complaining. Yeah. My buddy Jen Love would be thrilled with me. I went to the 5 a.m. Orange Theory class because I complained to her that the 4:45 class is too early. It is what it is. All right, everybody have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow. Again, please subscribe. You can leave comments. And don't forget about Locked On Sunbelt. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a great day. Thanks so much.